Good morning. Morning, Facebook. Okay. So, let me tell you what the situation is. I'll wait a second, see who wants to jump on. It's going to be a cool live stream. And it really doesn't need to be happening right now, but it is. It is because I decided it absolutely has to. Yes, because it just did. It just did. So, say hey when you jump on. I really should have just gone home and sat down somewhere comfortable and done this. But, well, it just had to happen right now apparently. So here we are. All right. I'll give it a second while I have some water. I've come out of doing a workout and then also a sauna. So this is why I've put the very flashy little filter on. Say hey when you jump on. I put the little flashy little filter on because it needs to cover how beetroot red I actually am from the sauna. So I hope you appreciate that. All right. So here is what I want to talk about. All right, give me a second. I'll sort this out. Okay, so let's talk about money, which seems to be my favorite topic these days, and more specifically around something that you may have heard around, scarcity, poverty mindset versus wealth mindset, abundance mindset, wealth consciousness, right? And so basically what I want to talk about is, first of all, just to define it, because a lot of people don't actually understand what the difference is, right? And what these buzzwords are, right? So here's the thing. A poverty mindset or a scarcity mindset and stuff is quite simply just a mindset that things are limited, right? That there is scarcity in the world, that especially when it comes to money, that money is limited, that there is not enough to go around for everyone. And a really common one, which is one that I'm going to touch on how to figure out if this is something that you maybe have been thinking, is the mindset that that by you having more, someone else has less, right? And I'm going to touch on this because this is a really powerful one, but it's sneaky in the way that it turns up, right? And this is one that I definitely had to let go of because it was definitely there for me. So basically the poverty mindset, the scarcity mindset, right? It's all around the idea that there's a limited amount, right? That there's not enough to go around, that there's not an unlimited amount, which of course isn't true because the universe is unlimited. We are unlimited. Say hey, someone's sending me love hearts and they're not saying hey. Either that or maybe Facebook's just not letting me see comments, which also happens sometimes. But yeah, so this idea that there's just not enough to go around, that it's always going to be limited, and this is of course absolute crap, and this is not the way the universe works. The universe is unlimited. There is more than enough for everyone, and by someone having more, someone else does not have less. That's not how it works. And so this is the difference between that mindset of poverty and scarcity versus that mindset of abundance and wealth and everything like that, right? It's basically that little switch of which one do you believe. And it's just a choice, by the way. I can say that's your mindset or whatever, but anything with mindset is just a choice, and you can decide to believe something else whenever you choose to. That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. And actually better for you to just choose what works for you, right? So what I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to make this a pretty quick one because I do actually want to go do some other things this morning as well, is this tricky little, sneaky little mindset one, which I see pop up from time to time. And I think today I was just like, no, I need to mention this one because this is kind of powerful, right? If you've ever sort of seen yourself say this, or you've seen other people say this, say hey if you're jumping on. Let me know where you're from and what you're up to. And this is the one where if you've seen someone say this before, if you've said this before, I know I have many times in the past said this before, that when someone talks about spending an exuberant amount of money on something, like for example, they want to have luxury items, or they want to, what else? They want to have business class or first class flights rather than going economy or whatever it is, right? Stuff that for a lot of people seems not necessary, right? And you say this line to yourself or line to them even, and just be like, yeah, see, that's all well and good, but I would rather spend this money on giving back to somebody else. I would rather spend this money on, donating to someone or charity or something than spending it on this unnecessary, luxury expense, right? And it comes across as like a really martyr kind of thing, like, oh, I'm so good, I only care about other people and that kind of stuff. And that's why it's really sneaky, because it makes you look, or you think that it makes you look more caring, more loving, more whatever, right? The problem is that what you're actually saying, the underlying belief beyond that, which a lot of people don't acknowledge, and this is why a lot of people walk around with this sort of, Mother Teresa martyr type complex, although I don't put Mother Teresa into this context at all, because she's very, very different. She had very different mindsets to this, right? But a lot of people sort of just use that as a analogy, right? The underlying belief behind that very belief to say, oh, I wouldn't want to spend that money on that when I can give it to someone else, or when I can, do whatever it is that there's not enough. Is that by you having this luxury item, by you having this, expense that isn't necessary, by you basically having something better than it needs to be, or whatever it is, that someone else has less. That you are limited is basically what you're saying as well, is that saying that, well, I only have a limited amount of money, I only have a limited amount of income, whatever it is, and therefore when I spend more on this for myself, that means that there is less to give to someone else, or less to spend on charity, or whatever it is that you want to do. And like I said, while it comes across originally as like something, oh yeah, cool, like that's, that makes you sound really good and really giving and really loving and stuff, really the underlying belief there is that there's not enough to go around, right? That by you having more, someone else has less. And that therefore, you are in that scarcity mindset, even if you don't realize it, even if you think that you're preaching and talking about abundance and about wealth consciousness and all this kind of stuff. The truth is that really deep down, if that's what you believe, then you are still in that poverty and that scarcity mindset, and that poverty consciousness of believing that there's not enough to go around, and that by someone else having more, someone else has less, right? And this is, buying into that idea that there is that there is a limit, basically, that the universe is not limitless, that it cannot provide abundance to everyone and as much as they want, and that there is no cap to it, basically. And that is what you're saying when you say things like, well, I'd rather spend that money on this, which is more, giving or whatever it is, rather than spending it on myself on something that's maybe not completely necessary, not completely... what's the word I'm looking for? Just a bit luxury, a bit fancy, a bit, I could do without, right? And so it's a sneaky little one, right? I used to say this a lot. I used to really, I guess it was part of that, that evolving of the wealth consciousness, right? Of believing that, the people that had a lot of money and stuff, well, they could do so much more with it if they just gave it away to others or whatever it is. And it was that limit, that idea that it's limited. There's only so much, and there's only so much that's going to go around. And if I, why do they take so much for themselves, basically, right? Once you develop this wealth consciousness, and there's heaps of books that I can recommend, that, Think and Grow Rich, The Magic, if you've read The Secret, that's a good one to start with, although I don't believe that, for me personally anyway, it didn't really evolve my thinking too much. But definitely like Think and Grow Rich, A Happy Pocket Full of Money is another one that's incredible, and it just opens up your awareness of how the universe works and how unlimited it actually is, right? And the fact that abundance, money, all that kind of stuff, it's unlimited. You can have as much of it as you want, and by you having all of it, as much as you could possibly want, that's actually not all of it. There's actually infinite, huge amounts more left for everybody else, right? And the more you can kind of understand that, the more you can step out of those kind of limiting beliefs. Because, it's one thing to say someone's selfish and they're not, looking out for anyone but themselves. That's one thing. But to just say, oh, I don't understand why people would want to, spend this money on these luxury things when they could get by on less and therefore have more to give to others, that is a poverty mindset. That is a scarcity mindset of there's not enough to go around. By me having more, someone else has less, right? And the more you can develop your wealth consciousness and actually begin to understand the laws of the universe and the way that it works and the way that you can just literally ask and call in whatever you want and it is given, and that by you having more, nobody else is going to suffer, nobody else is going to have less, the faster you can get to that, the faster you can make more of an impact, right? Because if you're limitless, then therefore your impact and the amount that you can give and the amount that you can help is limitless as well, as opposed to thinking, well, no, I only have X amount and I can only take this amount and therefore I need to give this amount, as opposed to, well, I have unlimited amount, right? And I can give and take. as much of it as I ever want, and so can everybody else, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that, let me know if you're watching this on a replay, because I think not many people jumped on live. So let me know if you're watching this on a replay, if this is something that's making sense to you, if it's something you've thought about a lot, or if it's something that's maybe new to you to consider. It was definitely something that took a bit of time for me to grasp, but I hope that it helps, and I hope that it gives you some food for thought for the future. And that's about it. Have an amazing day, whatever you're up to. I will talk to you guys really soon. And remember, live life on purpose. Bye.